Amadou Ba, ministro de Economía y Finanzas de Senegal.
Amadou Ba, Minister of Economy and Finance of Senegal.
Antonio Guterres, secretario general de Naciones Unidas.
Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations.
Jim Yong Kim, presidente del Banco Mundial.
Jim Yong Kim, President of the World Bank.
Christine Lagarde, directora gerente del Fondo Monetario Internacional.
Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund.
Guy Ryder, director general de la Organización Internacional del Trabajo.
Guy Ryder, General Director of the International Labour Organization.
Roberto Acevedo, director general de la Organización Mundial del Comercio.
Roberto Acevedo, Managing Director of the World Trade Organization.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, director general de la Organización Mundial de la Salud.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, General Director of the World Health Organization.
Luis Alberto Moreno, presidente del Banco Interamericano de Desarrollo.
Luis Alberto Moreno, President of the Inter-American Development Bank.
Ángel Gurria, secretario general de la Organización de Cooperación y el Desarrollo Económico.
Ángel Gurria, Secretary General of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Víctor Rico, secretario general del Banco de Desarrollo de América Latina.
Victor Rico, Secretary General of the Development Bank of Latin America.
Mark Carney, presidente del Consejo de Estabilidad Financiera.
Mark Carney, Chairperson of the Financial Stability Board.
El señor presidente de los Estados Unidos de América, Donald Trump.
The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Finalizada la toma fotográfica oficial del señor presidente de la Nación Argentina, Mauricio Macri, con los representantes de los países invitados y organismos internacionales, damos por concluida la presente instancia. A todos, muchísimas gracias.
Good morning. I would like to invite you to start taking a seat, so we invite the press in for them to take the pictures.
Sit down and so we can call in the press. Yes? For the occasion. And you will see tonight. And you will see tonight at the theater. It's my idea and others' production, but my idea.
Igual los tenés acá. Ah, la de todo el de la rueda.
No, es cierto, solamente saludarlo. Muchas gracias muchas gracias por toda la atención.
Te lo iba a poner en entretiempo.
Ah, ok. Pues en el coso, en el retiro de la tenía. Hay que saludar de alguno nombre. Ahí.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, I'd like to welcome you, dear colleagues and special guests, and I would also like to thank you for being in Buenos Aires. This is the first G20 summit in South America, and it's been 10 years since the heads of state and government of the G20 met for the first time. Gathered in the United States in the spirit of creating this mechanism, this dialogue forum, which made it possible at that time to prevent a worsening of the international financial crisis. In the past years, changes in social, political, and economic circumstances, both globally and within our countries, have led to doubts being expressed with regard to contemporary multilateral mechanisms, including the G20. And tensions have surfaced among our countries regarding the way to individually tackle the challenges and address global opportunities. Therefore, although the agenda that brings us together today is different, I would like to ask us to act with the same sense of urgency as in 2008. Because in a diverse world with multiple protagonists, each with their own history and culture, the essence of the G20 is to foster dialogue while respecting differences and encouraging actions based on shared interests. Let me say, as you will know, that this summit is an unprecedented event in our country. Never in our history have we had so many leaders at the same time in our country. And we see this as a gesture of support and an acknowledgement of the presence and performance Argentina is exhibiting globally, especially after so many years of isolation. Here, we, the leaders, meet face to face. We speak candidly. We ratify our common ground while managing disagreements. And this has been happening year after year for a decade now. And I do hope that during the course of this day and a half of work, we'll be able to lay the foundations for consensus for the next 10 years. It's a huge task at hand. We are all witnesses to profound changes taking place in our societies. Changes which have accelerated and grown in recent years, especially in the last 10 and 5 years. Changes in production processes, in behaviors, in customs, in the way we communicate, along with other advances such as in nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, 3D printing, all of which opens up doors and creates opportunities for progress, but it also challenges many of our categories. Today, a citizen in 30 days receives more information than what they would have received over the course of the whole lifetime 30 years ago. So 30 days as opposed to 30 years. This means that people have become rich in information and millionaires in terms of expectations, which I think clearly signals the level of the challenge today. And we need to rise to that challenge. Many people look at us and have doubts regarding these summits and what they're good for. And it is our duty to show to the world that today global challenges require global responses. Problems such as the future of work or climate change are issues that we can't resolve on our own, each of us. So I would like to invite us all to work together to take advantage of the mechanisms available to us today and to discuss what other mechanisms we may need in order to continue to offer coordinated responses. The way I see it, the solution, as we saw in our retreat, is dialogue. Dialogue and dialogue. That is the way of pushing the limits of the possible, on the understanding that each country will have its own preferences, values, and interests, but we all do agree on something, that we want to foster sustainable development. And we assume the responsibility of chairing the G20, convinced that we need to make a contribution and that we can make a contribution to international cooperation, to multilateralism, and to global governance. We've already held over 50 meetings all around the country, since we're a federal country. And we are proud of each of our regions, of the talent of our people, their opportunities, their drive, their natural resources, and their cultural heritage. I would like to take this opportunity as well to thank all Argentines who have taken part to make it possible to welcome you all to this major event. And I would also like to thank the residents of Buenos Aires who agreed to tackle the challenge of moving around the city while we have a meeting. And under the theme of building consensus for fair and sustainable development, these days we'll be dealing with several topics such as the future of work, infrastructure for development, a sustainable food future, financial stability, climate sustainability, and international trade, among others. This is a people-centered agenda with a forward-looking view. I'm an optimist by nature. I have always been. But especially after this year of work with my team and with the support of all of you, I've been able to see that we've reached very substantial consensus as enshrined in the ministerial communiques and in the action plans agreed upon amongst all of us. However, it is clear that consensus cannot be built from one day to the next. It is a process with progress and setbacks, and which will continue even after the G20. But it's even better when our commitments translate into concrete actions that improve the well-being of our people. So, at the southernmost G20 ever held, I invite us all to give a clear message to the world, to the effect that here, together, we can chart a development horizon, one with shared responsibilities, with a full commitment to gender equality, and with unity in diversity. And also, remembering someone I've always admired, Mandela, this year he would have been 100 years old, and he urged us so that by 2030 we could end poverty, and he was always an advocate of dialogue. So thank you once again for your presence here. I deeply appreciate it, and we shall now begin our first session in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much.